Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create a mutual NDA step by step. An NDA is basically a contract that is used to keep sensitive information confidential. And there's many different reasons why you would want to use an NDA. For example, if you're hiring an employee and this employee will gain access to sensitive company information, you want to make sure that as part of their employment agreement, they sign an NDA so that they don't reveal any of those confidential sources of information to other people. Another example is if you're working with freelancers or contractors, while they're working for you, they might need to know some trade secrets from your organization, and you don't want them to leak that information out to other people. Another example is discussing a potential business partnership. Businesses, for example, that are going to undergo a merger are usually going to reveal financial information with one another. And so there needs to be legal grounds to basically protect each party from sharing each other's financial information during a merger. So as you can see, NDAs are pretty versatile. There's many different reasons why you would want to use it. So if you're looking to create an NDA, you're in the right place. And yeah, let's get started. So the tool today that we're going to use is called Formable. Formable is a contract management solution that I'm the creator of. And we have many different tools out there, but the specific tool that we're going to be using today is the free contract creator tool. So don't worry, it's not paid or anything like that. This is one of our completely free tools. And once you get to this page, I'll leave a comment in the description, which will have a link to this specific page. You want to go to a section called confidentiality. And under confidentiality, you have two different kinds of agreements. You have a mutual NDA and a one-way NDA. Today, we're going to be covering a mutual NDA, which basically protects two parties from sharing confidential information with one another. There's also something called a one-way NDA or a unilateral NDA, which is specific to when one party is basically emanating confidential information to the other. But it's a one direction flow. So only one of the parties is sharing confidential information. The other one is purely a recipient. With a mutual non-disclosure agreement, both parties are talking to one another and sharing confidential information, which is a little bit more common. And I'll be covering that today. So click on mutual non-disclosure agreement when you get to the link, and it takes you to this page, and you just want to click start. And what you'll see is that throughout the whole process of creating this NDA on Formable, you have basically all of these different questions that Formable is going to ask you. And it's basically like a Quizlet. You go through and answer each of the questions, and in the very end, you'll have an agreement ready. So I'm going to start filling this out. Of course, we have to start with who you are and what your company is. I'm going to say Formable. We're a corporation. And when you get to this question, will you be the one signing this NDA? It's pretty important. If you're the one that is signing, then please put yes. If somebody else is going to sign, for example, if your CEO or legal counsel is signing on your behalf, then answer no to this question. But in most cases, the person creating the NDA is also going to be participating in signing it. So I'm going to click yes, and you should enter your full name. I'm going to enter in my title as well as my address. I'm not going to share my real address on YouTube video, so I'm just going to put address down. And okay, so we finished the you section, as you can see. And now we're at the them section, which is basically what is the other entity or party that you're going to sign the NDA with. So I'm going to name this a placeholder name. Let's say they're an LLC. And let's say that Mr. Frost is going to be signing for them. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly fill out all of this information. And yeah. Okay, so when you get to this section over here, what's the purpose of sharing confidential information? What you want to do is you just want to use plain English. Don't try and be like a robot and like write a very robotic kind of sentence. Just write exactly in plain English what you want to use this NDA for, because in this contract creator tool, it actually uses AI to do some of the writing, even though we're using a template. So in this section, it tends to work out better if you write in plain English what you want. So I'm just going to click one of these recommended actions, evaluate a potential business relationship. Click next. And this agreement will take effect today. You can also have the NDA take effect at a custom date. If you go into a custom date, you have to enter it in. I'm going to go back and just use today. How long the agreement should last is not how long necessarily the NDA is going to prevent the other party from discussing confidential information. This is actually the duration in which two parties is sharing confidential information with one another. So I'm going to put 2 years here. And if you require any advanced terms, go with yes. So there are some other questions that exist when you go into the advanced category. I'm just going to step through them. This question here, how long should confidentiality survive after the term ends, is going to determine exactly how long secrecy is going to last. So you take the how long confidentiality survives after the term ends with the effective date, the effective length of the agreement, and you add them together. So if the NDA stays in effect for 2 years, add the 2 years to how long should confidentiality survive, and that's your total amount from the starting date. So 2 plus 3 is 5. That means that the NDA is basically going to govern the fact that confidentiality is maintained for 5 years. If you don't go into advanced, then it's going to automatically pick 2 years. So after the NDA ends, then confidentiality also ends. But if you go into advanced, you have to also answer this question. Okay, how should disputes be resolved? Litigation is the default. I'm just going to go ahead and go through the defaults here. This is the other last important question, is anything else to include? Usually, if you have something else to include, for example, you want exclusivity with the other party, if you're discussing, for example, a business relationship or something like that, you want to include it here. And you can include more than one thing in the anything else to include. And the contract creator will be able to recognize that you want multiple things. So yeah, please use this field to include any sort of additional wording that you want to include in the contract. Finally, you just want to name the file. Right now, it just says mutual non-disclosure agreement. I'm going to say Formable with the other company. Name and proceed to preview. So when you're in preview, this is going to show you how your contract is going to look like when you go ahead and download it later. But while you're in preview, you can actually make some modifications to the contract. So right now, the contract isn't set in stone. You can still make modifications to it and then download the contract. And so conveniently, we have in Formable this way for you to use AI to make edits to the contract that you just drafted. So for example, I can do something like, I want to prefer arbitration instead of litigation. Litigation is you go to a court, arbitration is you get it settled, basically privately. And so before, I think it said litigation. If I go and search up arbitration now, it'll tell you that it prefers arbitration. I can also, for example, here it says governing law is Delaware. I can be more specific about the governing law. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. It's not a big deal, but I'll put here, I want a jurisdiction of Newcastle County, Delaware. So what I'm basically asking is make the governing law Delaware still, but I want you to pick a venue. So what type of court a litigation will occur at if there is litigation happening. and I want to set it to Newcastle County in Delaware. So only the court of Newcastle County is going to be involved if there is basically if one party sues the other party. So yeah, I'm happy with the changes now. You can add more changes here. You can also go and click this like pencil icon to go in here and like make more fine-tune adjustments. You can add sentences. You can add a sentence. You can remove entire clauses. And once you click the check mark, it automatically formats it so that it looks good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue now. And you may or may not need to create an account depending on if you're signed in or not. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And after you sign in, you'll get access to your non-disclosure agreement. So there you go. You're done now, and you have yourself a mutual NDA. You can go ahead and download this mutual NDA and be on your way for whatever reason you want this document for. Maybe you want to edit it with your colleague, or you want to send it out to somebody. If you want to send it out for e-signing, Formable to e-sign the document actually. So you can type in your signature or draw a signature and click send document. And this will already be pre-filled with the email of the other party. And so if you click send document, they will be able to receive your NDA and go ahead and start signing it. You might just need to give them a reminder that a document is on their way. So yeah, I hope this was really useful for you. And I'd love to see you go ahead and create an NDA with Formable. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts or questions.